Well, good morning. Everybody at the Coves was treated to a lot of white noise from the surf last night from Lake Superior, and it looks like it's going to be a blustery day, but that keeps the bugs down and keeps us cool, so that'll be good. Cove site, I think there's 6 campsites, but it's in a beautiful pine forest, and was able to visit with a bunch of folks, probably 2 couples and 1 other individual. Hung out by the fire last night, and so today is about 11 miles from Coves to, I can't even think of the name of it, I'll put it right here, Benchmark. That's where I'm headed today. Over halfway through, I think, of the hike, and I think it'll be a good day. Heating up the coffee and water for breakfast today, which is some oatmeal with carnations and breakfast and chocolate chips, and then a Luna bar, and there's my bag of coffee. So as you can see, lots of space here at this campsite and other tents around. In preparation for this trip, I was looking for information on the campsites and other things, and found John Allen Outdoors had an amazing, he went through the whole, like on one of his hikes, he went to every campsite, looked at each site, did a rating of the sites at each of the locations, and so it was invaluable in trying to pick, if I had a choice in which site to take, I could look at his stuff and make a determination. I think this is one of them that he had recommended, and so that was an invaluable resource. Thanks, John. I'll put a link to his channel and that video in the description. Decided to really live it up and add some hot chocolate to the coffee today. Well, it's actually almost 10 before I'm leaving camp, but it was nice to pack up dry and be a little bit leisurely today. So the mileage to Benchmark is actually 10.5, so feeling pretty good about that. And so now I think overall it's going to be pretty flat and right along the lake here, so it should be beautiful. So I just ran into 4 guys who started from the eastern end on Monday, and them, along with everybody else I've talked to, talks about how bad Monday night was, and with the rain and storms. And in fact, if it had kept going, I might have considered bailing, but I'm really glad I didn't, because yesterday, if you haven't seen that video, check it out. It was just gorgeous, and even though it's cloudy today, there's a beautiful breeze, and you get views like this. So the western half of the park, the trail has a little bit of dirt and clay, but lots of pine needles, and overall is relatively soft. There are some wet spots, but overall it's a pretty cruisy and flat trail. And this section is no exception, but it's more hard-packed sand. But you do get spots like back there where it's a little bit softer and slow going. But making good time. It's a beautiful day. So one of the things I was thinking about this morning as I was debating getting out of bed was the advantages and disadvantages of having to reserve sites at these campgrounds. On the one hand, you know you have a site, so rather than scurrying and trying to get somewhere by 3 o'clock just to make sure you can get a tent pad that's going to work for your tent and stuff, and the flattest, you know you've got a site. So like yesterday, it was a long day, but I knew that I could take my time because I had a site reserved, and I could relax and take my time and be safe. On the Spear Hiking Trail, for example, there's a lot more campsites, but they're first come, first served. And so there's a little bit of a rush to try and get there. But, you know, if you're having a hard day or the weather's bad, you don't have the pressure of getting to a specific site that night. If it turns out you're not going to make it, you can find one closer. So let me know in the comments your thoughts on whether or not you like the reserved idea, or if you'd prefer just first come, first served and find a spot. So it's been about an hour, and I've gone 2.7 miles already, so I'm making really good time. I'm at the Pine Bluff campground, so I might pause and make sure I have enough water. There's my Zolio letting my family know that I'm safe and checked in, so we'll take a little break and then continue on. Somebody came up with a really nice idea. So Pine Bluff is a very nice site. Quite a few flat spots, so I'd recommend that. There was one that looked like it was on the side of the hill and didn't have as many flat sections, but you had access to the beach to get more water, so not a bad spot. So the closest land is part of the point that I hiked past yesterday, and way off in the distance you can still see Grand Island, which by my calculations is at least 24 miles away. Pretty cool. just had a really nice conversation with some folks who are conservationists in Michigan, and they've been going around the state checking on the ecology, and they were talking about how this forest that I'm walking through right now is just one of the most greatest examples of a pristine natural forest, and it definitely is, save for the car, but just beautiful. And it's been so quiet, a little bit away from the lake, and just very peaceful and beautiful. And then the trail itself has been like an old logging road, so pretty straight. I think I counted a section over half a mile that was just absolutely straight and flat. So making my way. Now we're back near the lake. That walk through the forest the last couple miles was amazing. I was thinking yesterday that I had passed all of the big, exciting things to see on the trail, but going through that forest, how quiet it was, how beautiful and pristine, it was just amazing. And now back in the lake, I'm starting to see a few more rocks. Looks like a good place for lunch. So 7 Mile is a lovely lunch spot and a nice campsite, but from what I can see, the privy is actually at the group site, which is 0.3 away. So if you're thinking about staying here and you're getting up in age, you might want to consider that. So time to filter some water. Got about 3.5 miles to go to get to camp. So I couldn't see everything inside, but I did see a couple beds, and nice place for a fire and nice outhouse, so might be worth a trip sometime. So just had a wonderful conversation with Jim, who's the campground host here at 12 Mile Beach. He spent time in Maine and has hiked a lot of the AT and lives down in North Carolina now. And, seemed like a cool guy, and what a great retirement gig to be able to spend time hanging out here. Might have to check that out someday. Other side of that flag said Green Bowl Packers. Not if they play the way they did last week. Made it. So to give you an idea of how flat it was, the elevation gain and loss in 10.5 miles was 95 feet, which is pretty amazing. So pretty open campsite, and mine is number 2 right over there. So it's a little after 4, got the site set up, feel pretty good about my pitch, a little bit tighter and square, so hopefully it will work well. Got to give a shout out to Kevin and Tanya, who were talking about some of their tips and tricks, because I really liked how they had pitched theirs. One of the things that I need to do is maybe get a piece of string to tie this out, because it kind of opens it up a little bit, make sure that the fly doesn't touch the inner. So tent is over there, and up this hill, or dune I should say, and down the other side is this view. Not too bad. Walk on the beach and a little nap, it is time for dinner. So tonight's meal is a Thanksgiving dinner, a recipe that I got from the Hungry Hiker on YouTube. And this recipe, you've got some stovetop stuffing, some mashed potatoes, a few fried onions, and turkey jerky that gets mixed together, and throw in a little olive oil. Got a little container of olive oil to go in there, and gets mixed up and is pretty tasty. Sometimes I've thrown in some cranberry craisins to rehydrate to get a full turkey dinner, but this one's been pretty good. I've enjoyed it a few times. One thing you'll notice too is that I've really gotten away from cooking on the flame because it is a little bit tippy on that BRS stove, and it just, to me, it just works better to use freezer bags and prepared meals and just put the water in. The one thing that I do eat or drink out of the cup is coffee, as you saw. But otherwise, I've been going with just boiling the water and putting it in, and it's a little less stressful. Okay, so I get that that meal is really monochromatic. It would be nice if there was some green bean casserole in there, or any other, maybe some sweet potato, but it hits the spot. I will say the Costco turkey jerky seemed to hydrate more than this that I got at Trader Joe's, but it is hard to find turkey jerky, but it hits the spot. Well, I'm going to put a wrap on day 3. What a great day. Not a day I was particularly looking forward to, because I felt like all the big highlights had happened yesterday, but this was amazing. I mean, very flat, but the forest in the Beaver Basin Wilderness was just spectacular. It was so beautiful, and really a treat to get to explore and go through. And then getting to spend time down on the beach, and I got to camp and visiting at 12 Mile Campground with the camp host. That was fun, and seeing that some different spots to check out in the future. Definitely worth it. And so right now I'm the only one here, but with that, I'm going to say goodnight. As always, keep on learning, and we'll see you down the trail.